This is our presentation for our final project in CSE 455, Exploring Increasing Diversity in Dropout Models by Preston Lee and Ryan Park. So what are ensembles? Ensembles are a technique in machine learning wherein you have multiple models that are trained on your dataset, and you aggregate their outputs in some way to regularize the output. And this usually yields better test accuracy on your test set. Now, it's important in these ensembles that each of these models is slightly different from each other so that they don't all output the same thing. Because if they do output the same thing, then there's no very intelligent way to aggregate them without just being a single model. So what is dropout? Dropout is can be viewed as an ensemble technique. What it is that you randomly blank out different neurons in a neural network during training time. As Jeffrey Hinton says in his presentation on Dark Knowledge is Useful, what you're actually doing is that you're randomly sampling from 2 to the h different architectures, where h is the number of hidden units, where all the architectures share some weights. So we can see that dropout can be viewed as an ensembling technique, and diversity in ensembles leads to better test accuracy. But what about in dropout? There hasn't been really a way to enforce greater diversity in dropout, so that's what our project is really about. So our approach is basically to compute the loss function shown on the screen. We basically found this loss function from a paper called Amended Cross-Entropy Cost Framework for Explicit Diversity Encouragement. Well, we actually assume that each dropout sample from our model is a different model, and that the model run as a whole without the dropout is the ensemble. So on our test accuracy results, we tested it on MNIST and Cypher10. We can see that we actually have a significantly higher test accuracy when we have this non-correlated loss. Now, we can actually see that the mean of our non-correlated model, which is the same model as the baseline but with a different loss function, it's actually almost equivalent to the best test accuracies of the baseline. So we believe that this is the way it is because baseline models can achieve diversity, but only randomly. There's nothing constraining them to be diverse, and there's nothing constraining them for all the different dropout permutations to output the same result. So this loss constraint enforces diversity in the non-correlated model, leading to less variance and higher accuracy. We also tested a little bit on adversarial examples. Basically, what we did is that we used the fast gradient sign method to create examples that our models will perform very, very poorly on, but have very, very small perceptual differences to the original images. So you can see the different distortions that we do here and on both MNIST and Cypher10. So on the adversarial test, the non-correlated model outperforms the baseline on all distortions. So this the result is similar on Cypher10, although the difference is much smaller on Cypher10 than it is on MNIST. And we believe that this is because when the model converges on the training set, higher diversity matters more. So the model actually didn't really converge on the training set for Cypher10 because it was very small. So as you can see here, the difference in how much resistance it has to its adversarial attack is smaller. So in the future, we'd actually like to revisit these adversarial tests, see if different adversarial methods are actually all resisted against by the non-correlated model. We would also like to be able to quantify the amount of diversity inside of our dropout models and determine what diversity is actually useful within the dropout model, because not all types of diverse outputs are necessarily good outputs. So that is our project, and we hope you enjoyed. Thank you.